Former WWE talent consider AEW a step down. Could WWE be working with Pro Wrestling Noah? And we've got the backstage reaction in AEW to Jade Cargill joining WWE. Stay tuned for all the deets. So getting right into it, this is a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, but it revealed that several former WWE talent view AEW as a step down.
Whoa, that's big.
Yeah, just a little bit. It states that a lot of ex-WWE talent went to AEW and saw it as a step down. And even though some of them are being pushed, they haven't really helped the company. There are several that you get the impression that they can't wait to get back to WWE and that they see it as Major League if they can get an offer when their AEW deal expires. It continues to note that some of these talents asked for releases from AEW after Vince McMahon retired and Paul Levesque garnered a stronger role.
Yeah,
so guess who these people are?
Yeah, you know, you can kind of sort of fill in the blanks on that one.
It's all the black and gold flavored people.
Yeah, some of the black and gold that maybe have partners in another company that maybe, you know, get featured heavily on Collision. But
I knew that Bryan Danielson, the second those Bellas re-sign, he's going to be gone.
Straight back to
being Daniel
Bryan. I say, yeah, it's of course a lot of talent. The AEW has a lot of talent. Their roster is very full, as we've mentioned before. So it's not a surprise that certain talents, maybe when they signed, felt that they were going to get a bigger role and don't.
I see that, but at the same time, it's weird, right? Because again, I'm not trying to do the whole, you know, making excuses and stuff, which people will accuse me of, but AEW is a very young company comparatively. WWE's been going, like 51 years now, 52 years.
It's a long time.
So it's kind of, you know, there's a level of tenure that WWE has, I feel, that gives it this status as the major leagues, right? It's the major company because of its, you know, length, I guess, that it's been operating. But at the same time, AEW, as you said, you know, there's a lot of talent. There's not a lot of TV time comparatively, even though there is a lot of shows going on. Same in WWE, right? Like, you can't get everybody on every show. And so when you're going to bring people in for name value, if creative's got nothing for you, pal, once you get over there after your initial bit, then you are kind of in limbo. So I do see why people would be annoyed, but I don't think that warrants AEW being seen as minor league.
AEW is definitely not minor league. It's
not on the same like pedestal as WWE.
Yeah,
when you look at finances, when you look at tenure, when you look at a lot of things, but
and in the wider outside of wrestling, people might feel that WWE is more recognizable.
Yeah,
but
you just said it to the man on the street, he'd probably be like, "Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold,
exactly,
Rock, WWF."
It's Tom's Taxi Driver all over again. But it sucks that some talent do feel it maybe is a step down because obviously both companies have their positives, both companies have their negatives. AEW is giving an alternative product, and it is sad that some people may go, "Oh, it's a step down," or it's a step back for certain things, because you look at certain talents who have excelled in AEW and excelled in WWE. Cody obviously is one of the biggest talents to have done both, and we've seen what he's done in AEW and what he's done in WWE, and he's excelled in WWE more than he did AEW. Then you look at Danielson, and he's excelled in both.
Yeah, and then I think it's depending on, you know, your name size, you can make of it what you can make of it. But if you're somebody like, you know, who's kind of in and around the mid card and then disappears for months on end, it's gotta be frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the other name that actually jumped to my head there was 2.0.
Yeah.
They in no way would see AEW as a step down because they've been heavily featured in that sort of sense. So really, I guess it is, as you said, dependent on all the booking and the mid-card status.
Well,
but yeah.
We're going to circle back around to this interestingly with the final story, but moving over to the weirdest bit of wrestling headline I saw this morning. WWE could be working potentially with Pro Wrestling Noah if one Keiji Muto is to be believed. So he spoke with BBM Sports Japan and states that WWE working with Noah is a possibility. He said Noah is also a Beamer, a member of the Cyber Agent Group. With this, WWE is also a Beamer. There's a possibility something about WWE and Noah will be born with this. Okay, next time I'll build that bridge. I'll buy Triple H some sushi and I'll bring the receipt to a Beamer. Wrestling's all about connecting the dots to the lines. Now, this is off the back of the WWE announcing their brand new TV deal in Japan. It's all going to be airing through the Beamer network. Yeah. So it's not like they have the same parent company. It's not like it's, you know, a tied in thing from the TKO merger. It's very much I guess it'll be more like an ambassadorial pleasantries thing initially, and then maybe we might see a little bit of something. The only thing I can think of really is either a one-night special,
yes,
or we do a mini talent exchange and send a couple of NXT people over and get a couple of, like, you know, younger Noah talent.
That's kind of where I was thinking. If we see any back and forth between them, I believe it would. It's most likely to probably come in the form of Japanese live shows where they go to Japan and then you see some Noah talent on one of the live shows being like, I'm not too familiar with Noah.
He had like 11 retirement matches, but we could also do Muto the final, you know, like once in a lifetime too, like they did with Cena and Rock.
Him versus Ric Flair.
And Triple H.
Yeah.
Just throw on it. Get them all in there.
I'd be excited to see what they do. We've not seen WWE really work with outside companies in a very, very long time.
Yeah, they used to have quite strong ties to the Far East, though, like working with companies like Super World of Sports back in the day. Of course, they had ties to New Japan. There was like a Champion Series in the 80s. There's a lot of history there, and, you know, WWE is trying to grow as a brand in the Japanese market. So I think that working with more familiar names, even if it is just a one-night spectacular, you know, like a Forbidden Door-esque thing where, you know, if we look at it realistically, it'll be about 5 Noah matches, 5 WWE matches, and 1 cross-promotional match.
Yeah, we
because that's exactly what they would do.
My worry is that they wouldn't see Noah. I don't want to say it as equals in terms of like both companies need to be seen at the same level rather than just WWE goes to Japan and goes, here's a company I want to work with.
But Noah is on the rise in Japan. Of course, WWE in Japan is interesting anyway because it's, you know, Japanese WWE fans want to see WWE. They don't necessarily want to see the local wrestling mixed in with it, right? So it's one of those things where I'd be interested in seeing what we could do with maybe a one-night thing. But I reckon if it goes any further, it'll be like a talent exchange of sorts. Maybe a Muto appearance.
The Forbidden Window.
Yeah. Get Muto in there with Asuka for a little bit.
Yeah.
Not wrestling. Just get him in and around it.
Have a match.
So moving over to NXT, Dragon Lee made an appearance on last night's SmackDown as he was sat ringside to watch the returning Cameron Grimes take on Austin Theory. Theory picked up the win and approached Lee at ringside and exchanged words, and it was then confirmed that Dragon Lee versus Theory will take place on next week's SmackDown, so Dragon Lee looking to be an NXT boy no more.
Yeah, getting a big showing on the main roster. Him versus Dominic Mysterio was fantastic on Raw for the North American title. Dragon Lee, he feels very ready for the main roster.
Yes.
And it was one of the most watched segments on Raw was the match between them.
I think there's just anticipation, right?
Right.
Just anticipation. Dragon Lee, just let him run wild.
You know that WWE has always been looking for that next Rey Mysterio, and every single time they go, oh, it's Rey Mysterio, he's the next one.
Yeah.
I feel like they've got something in Dragon Lee.
I believe so as well.
He's got a great look.
They just can't drop the ball. That's it. You just got to keep carrying the ball, get it into the end zone, and we're going to have a great time.
But I think, him done with NXT moving, I would like to see him on Raw. But you see these matchups that you could have. You could have Dragon Lee versus Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, and that would be a lot of money involved in that. That would be, people would watch that.
Yes,
for sure. Give us that.
Keeping it with SmackDown, and it's not really an appearance, but it was a strange mention, or at least it would have been a stranger mention had we not already had the news surrounding it. It still felt a bit odd. It's not really like they do this for a lot of talent.
They don't do a lot, but Michael Cole referenced on commentary. We saw a little hype video about Jade Cargill. Michael Cole referencing how the announcement of her signing was viewed over 20 million times. That's insane.
Yes.
That's like The Rock levels of viewing of things. He referenced the fact that she's already got a superhero look, and I think that's a big talking point about her signing with WWE.
Well, Nikki ASH isn't a gimmick anymore.
Exactly.
We know what we're going to do with Jade Cargill.
Oh God, don't. What if Vince watches? No, he's not watching. The hype video included quotes from various media outlets discussing her signing and showing her, working out at the WWE Performance Center. We know that she was there last week, and it's kind of a big deal that they've gone, look at this talent that we've just signed. Look how incredible she is, and look at everyone hyping up how good she is.
Yeah.
It's currently unknown where she's going to end up. SmackDown, Raw, NXT. Shawn Michaels referenced the other day, was like, we'd love to have her in NXT. Jade Cargill has said she knows where she's going, but Corey Graves just finished the segment by saying, there is a storm coming to the women's division. Trust me when I say Jade is a game changer. So maybe SmackDown, maybe Raw. I'm excited.
They said game changer, which means GCW.
GC Dub. Yeah.
GC Dub. That's where Jade Cargill's going, inexplicably.
Yeah.
They just announced it on SmackDown. Right, well, moving over to AEW, but still concerning Jade Cargill here. A new report from Dave Meltzer in The Observer has shed some more light on the backstage reaction from AEW stars about Cargill's defection. Now, while no one in AEW has said anything negative about Cargill to Meltzer and his team, the only negative Meltzer had heard was that Cargill's exit has presented an image where a hot prospect can go to AEW, receive a massive push, and then just leave for WWE. An obviously unwanted image, and that circles all the way back to our first story there of some former WWE talent seeing the company as a step down.
Yes.
But it should be noted, apparently, that Cargill initially had a tryout with WWE before joining AEW, with Meltzer noting that there'll be others who will look at the example set by Cody Rhodes and now Cargill, in that it's better to leave WWE, become a star in AEW, then make the jump back rather than staying in WWE and stagnating. So it's sort of like, if you think about wrestling as a giant kitchen, WWE's the oven / the pass, and AEW is just a giant bag of seasoning.
That is, yeah, that worked.
Yeah.
That does work. How long have you been sitting on that one? It kind of works.
Working on it all night.
I think it's very fair that some people in AEW would feel this way, where they're going, oh, she got an offer, she turned it down, she came to us, came this massive deal. We made her undefeated bar
TBS
2 losses.
title.
TBS title was booked around her for well over a year and a bit.
Very accommodating with just kind of coming and going from wrestling as well.
And then she goes to WWE and is now treated as this massive deal coming in. It makes sense that people would feel that way, but it also makes sense that talent would do that. We saw it in WCW back in the 90s.
Looking out for number one, right?
Like, we saw people leave and jump promotions.
But you've got to do it. You're the talent. You're the one where if you feel you're not being presented in a certain way and you can be a bigger star, then you need to seek the platform or the company that you can work with that you feel works best for you. And I think the flip side of this argument here is that all AEW really have to do is take somebody completely underutilized by WWE and make them a massive star.
Yeah.
So if they could bring in someone, say, like Mustafa Ali, and if they got Mustafa Ali and brought him in and somehow inexplicably made him like the hottest star in the company within a matter of weeks, then the talking point's going to shift back to what it was. But it's like, oh well, these talent are being kind of stifled in WWE and they can be more free in AEW. And I think it's just going to be this needle that we see flick between both of these arguments for the rest of time.
And the exciting thing is, though, that it means that the wrestling world is hot right now. Because
rising tide.
Exactly. The fact that Jade Cargill starts off an unknown, becomes this megastar, and then both companies are trying to bid for her.
Bidding war.
Exactly. We're going to see it.
Wait till MJF's contract's up, man.
Right. We're going to see it with so many talent over the next few years, where they become this megastar in WWE or become a megastar in AEW, and then it feels like the Monday Night Wars. It's exciting. I never got to experience it. I'm excited for this.
Well, keep it with us here this weekend. The podcast is, of course, live on the channel. Check out yesterday's news for a massive, massive surprise concerning one Tom Campbell and Impact Wrestling. Of course, we've got all of the Wrestle Dream content coming up, don't we? We've got live stream tonight. We're going to have What Happened At. There's going to be everything you would expect in and around that. But we may be back later on today if there's any more news breaks. If not, have a good one. See you later.